Yes, we are going to look at entering and editing data in Microsoft Excel, entering text, numbers, and dates, editing data using autocomplete and autofill, copying data, moving and clearing data using undo and redo, finding and replacing data. This is what we are going to have a look at in Microsoft Excel.
Text labels and numeric data are the primary components of a worksheet, just as words are the primary content of a letter. In this chapter, you will work with various Excel tools to enter and edit data. You will learn several methods for copying, moving, and clearing data, as well as finding and replacing data. Cells in a worksheet can contain 4 general types of data: text, numbers, dates, and formulas. The type of data in a cell determines how Excel can manipulate that data. Text consists of words and phrases which are generally used for labeling areas of a spreadsheet or list. Numbers in a cell can serve to display information, and they can also be manipulated by Excel. For example, if cells A4 and A5 contain numbers, Excel can add up the values in those cells and display the result in another cell.
The first step is to enter the first item in the series. In this example, 2022 is already entered in cell B2, so select that cell.
During this chapter, you will enter text, dates, and numbers. Later in the course, you will work with formulas. Let's continue entering data in the budget workbook. Instead of entering data directly into a cell, you can enter it in the formula bar. You select the cell to contain the data, click inside the formula bar, and begin typing. Use the formula bar now to enter the text expenses in cell A8. While typing in the formula bar, you can use the left arrow and right arrow keys to move the insertion point. Recall that using the arrow keys while typing directly in the cell moves the cell selector to another cell. Notice that cell A8 displays the text you've entered in the formula bar. However, the text will not remain in the cell until you commit the entry. If you don't want to commit the data to the cell, you can press the Escape key or click the Cancel button represented by the X on the formula bar. In this case, let's commit the data by pressing Enter. Now, type a label directly in cell A4, and then you'll start entering numbers. Cell B4 needs to display the amount of income generated from sales. The process for entering a number is the same as for text. Notice that Excel has aligned the number along the right side of the cell. By default, Excel aligns text entries on the left side of the cell and aligns numbers on the right side. Excel is currently displaying the number using the default general format. Often, you will want numbers to include commas, currency symbols, decimal places, and other characters to clarify their meaning. Later in the course, you will learn how to format numbers and other data.
A date in Excel is a special type of number. When you type numbers in a particular sequence, including the hyphen and slash characters, Excel interprets the number as a date and displays it that way in the cell. Let's see what Excel does when you enter 11-30.
Excel interpreted the characters 11-30 as the date, November 30th, and applied a date format to the entry. Notice, however, that the formula bar contains a different date format. You can override the date format in the cell, but the date will always appear this way in the formula bar. You've successfully added text, a number, and a date into the worksheet. For your convenience, additional data will be entered so that you can learn how to work with more Excel features. Formatting will also be applied to some of the cells. After you enter data into your worksheet, you may have to go back and edit it. You can edit data directly in the cell or in the formula bar. The number in cell B5 should be 31,621. Select the cell and then click next to the number 0 in the formula bar. The insertion point is now in the formula bar. From here, you can use the backspace, delete, and arrow keys to edit the data. You can also drag the mouse pointer to select portions of the text if needed. Now let's edit the misspelled text expenses directly in the cell. To activate editing mode inside a cell, you double-click where you want to position the insertion point.
Good. If the cell entry is short, sometimes it's easier to retype the entry instead of editing it. Let's change the entry in cell B2 to 2022.
The cell contents have been completely replaced. If you change your mind while replacing or editing a cell, you can press the Escape key to restore the original contents. Sometimes entering and editing data can be tedious and time-consuming. Excel offers several automated tools to speed up the process of entering data. Let's start by working with the autocomplete feature. Autocomplete is a shortcut for entering previously entered text into another cell. When you begin typing a word that you previously typed in the same column of the worksheet, Excel will automatically complete the word for you. Autocomplete is particularly helpful in reducing spelling errors and increasing your efficiency. To use autocomplete, you first enter a word, then move to a new cell within the same column, and then begin to type the word again. This worksheet already has text, so let's select a cell and use autocomplete. Excel recognized that M was previously entered in another cell in the column, so it automatically filled in the rest of the word. If you want to accept the word, you press the Enter key. If you do not want to accept the autocomplete word, keep typing the text that you want. Excel will remove its suggestion and allow you to continue to type. Another feature that speeds up the process of entering data is autofill. This tool enables you to copy the same value into multiple cells or to enter a series of sequential values. Let's use autofill to enter the next 3 sequential years in cells C2 through E2.
The first step is to enter the first item in the series. In this example, 2022 is already entered in cell B2, so select that cell.
Notice the small box in the lower right corner of the cell selector. This is the autofill handle. You drag this handle across all the cells that will contain the copied values or the sequence. By default, Excel copied the value from cell B2 to the other cells. You can tell Excel to create a series instead using the Autofill Options button to the lower right of cell E2. This option button appears whenever you use the autofill feature. As you work with Excel, you will see other option buttons that appear after you perform certain tasks. Clicking the Autofill Options button displays a menu. Let's take a look. The second option tells Excel to fill the cells with a series, instead of copying the original value. The remaining options let you specify formatting options.
Now the cells contain the sequential series of years. You can use autofill for a variety of series. For example, Excel recognizes the text Jan and Feb as months and can fill a selected range of cells with consecutive months. For your convenience, the income and expense amounts of 2022 will be added to the worksheet. Often you will need to copy and move data from one cell or cell range to another. For example, instead of typing the 2023 income and expense amounts, it may be easier to copy the amounts from 2022. You can then edit the 2022 numbers if needed.
Once a cell or cell range is selected, you can copy or move it using several different methods. Use the copy and paste commands to copy cell data. Use the cut and paste commands to move cell data. Drag the cell or cell range to move the data. Hold down the Control key while dragging the cells to copy the data. Let's copy the contents of cell B4 to cell C4 using the copy and paste commands. The copy command can be activated using the copy button in Clipboard group on the ribbon. This command copies the selected cell data and places it in a temporary storage area called the Office Clipboard. The paste command then puts the data from the Office Clipboard to the selected destination. The border around cell B4 indicates that this data has been copied to the clipboard and will be pasted when you click the Paste button. Next, you need to select the destination cell and paste the data. Clicking the top section of the Paste button pastes the data. Clicking the Paste arrow displays additional options. The icon appearing next to cell C4 is the Paste Options button, which provides additional options for pasting. Let's take a look. These options enable you to control the type of formatting that is applied to the data being pasted. For example, you can choose to keep the original formatting or to reformat the data to match the formatting or the theme in the current cell of the worksheet. In this case, the formats of the original data and its new destination are the same. To remove the display of the Paste Options button and its menu, use the Escape key. Pressing the Escape key also removed the border from cell B4. This means the selection is no longer available for pasting. The Copy, Cut, and Paste commands are also accessible from a cell's shortcut menu. Let's use the shortcut menus to copy the data from cell B5 to cell C5. In addition to the shortcut menu, a small palette of options appears. This is called the Mini Toolbar, and it contains commonly used formatting options that can be applied to cells. For example, you can click the lower left button to apply bold formatting to the selected cell. Now copy the data and paste it into cell C5.
You can also copy an entire range of cells. Let's copy all of the 2022 expenses numbers to 2023. If you prefer to use keyboard shortcuts, you can press Ctrl+C to copy data and Ctrl+V to paste it. Start by selecting the range and then use the keyboard shortcut to copy the data to the clipboard.
Good. When you paste a range of cell data to another range, you only need to select the first cell in the destination range. Excel is smart enough to figure out that the remaining cells also need to be pasted. Great! The data has been copied. It still remains on the Office clipboard, so you can copy it again if necessary. You can view the contents of the Office clipboard by clicking the launcher in the lower right corner of the clipboard group. Let's try this now. The Office clipboard can store up to 24 objects from any Office application, as well as from other Windows applications. That way, you can collect and paste a variety of objects into different documents. The Windows clipboard, used by most Windows applications, can store just one object at a time. To use the Office clipboard in other programs, you must first copy data from an Office application. After an item has been copied, you can paste one or all of the items or delete all of the items. You can paste items directly from the clipboard task pane instead of using the paste command. Clicking the item in the clipboard task pane pastes it into the active cell or cell range. Let's use the clipboard to paste the data into the cell range D9 to D13. Good. You've finished copying data for now, so let's close the clipboard task pane. The procedures for moving data are similar to copying data. Instead of using the copy command, you use the cut command. This command is accessible from the clipboard group, a cell's shortcut menu, and by pressing Ctrl+X. When you use the cut command, the data is stored in the clipboard. When you paste the data, it is removed from the original cell.
Use the cut and paste commands now to move the total label from cell A17 to A16.
You can also move cell data by dragging the cell selector border to a different destination. Let's move the date in cell A1 to cell F1 by dragging the cell selector. If the data in a cell is no longer required, you can remove it. The Clear Contents command removes the data from the cell, leaving a blank cell. This command can be activated using the shortcut menu, the Clear tool in the editing group, or by pressing Delete. Let's remove the 30 November date from cell F1.
Now let's use the Clear tool to remove the 2025 label from the worksheet. Clicking the Clear button in the editing group displays a menu of options.
The Clear Contents option removes just the data and keeps any formatting that has been applied to the cell. Clear Formats removes just the formatting, and Clear All removes both the contents and the formatting. It is important to remember that there is a difference between clearing a cell's contents and deleting a cell. When you delete a cell, it is completely removed from the worksheet, and the surrounding cells are shifted to take its place. Let's demonstrate this difference using the shortcut menu for the cell range B14 to D14. The Clear Contents command will remove just the data, but let's see what happens when you select the Delete command. Excel wants to know how to fill in the gap that will result from the deleted cells. Let's choose the default option. As you can see, the contents of the 3 cells below the original cells have been shifted up to fill the gap. This is inaccurate, as those numbers relate to machinery and not to the miscellaneous category. If you perform an action and then decide it was incorrect, you can use the Undo button on the Quick Access toolbar. Clicking this button once restores the worksheet to the state it was in prior to the most recent action. Clicking it again undoes the next most recent action, and so forth. Let's undo the cell deletion you just performed. Notice that the screen tip for the Undo button indicates which action will be undone. If you want to undo multiple actions, you can click the Undo arrow and select the actions from the menu. However, you can undo only a consecutive series of actions. Let's take a look.
You now see a list of the most recent actions that have not been undone. The first clear action refers to clearing the 11/30 date from cell F1. The second action refers to clearing the 2023 number. To undo multiple actions, you select the last action in the sequence. Let's undo the 2 clear actions.
Both of the actions have been undone. If you undo too many actions or change your mind, you can redo the actions by clicking the Redo button or clicking the Redo arrow. Let's redo both actions. Good! Excel has redone both clear actions. Another way to redo an action is to use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+Y. You can also undo actions with the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+Z.
You have finished working with the budget spreadsheet, so save this workbook. Then open the Weekly Price List workbook using the Recent Documents list on the File menu.
When working with large worksheets, you may need some help locating the information you want to see or change. Excel helps you accomplish this with the Find and Replace features. The Season column in this worksheet notes the general time that each product is available. Let's replace all instances of Best Now with Through May. The Find command enables you to locate specific data in a worksheet or workbook. The Replace command lets you locate and then replace data. These and other commands are accessible from the Find and Select tool in the Editing group. Here you designate the data to find and the data to use as a replacement. In this example, you want Excel to find the text Best Now and replace it with the text Through May. The Find and Replace dialog box provides additional options for finding and replacing information. Let's look at these options. You can limit the Find and Replace action to this worksheet only, or apply it to the entire workbook. You can search by rows or columns and choose to include formulas. Use the Match Case option if the data you need to find and replace is case sensitive. You can also specify matching the entire contents of a cell. Let's find and replace the text throughout the entire workbook. Excel found the first occurrence of the text and has selected the cell. Clicking the Replace button will replace the text in this cell. The text has been replaced and Excel has found the next cell with the text Best Now. You could continue locating each occurrence using the Find Next button and skip occurrences that you do not want to change. However, you want to replace all instances of Best Now in the workbook. Good! Excel has completed the task and now provides information about the search and the number of replacements it has made. In this chapter, you entered and edited data using the formula bar and the cells in the worksheet. You worked with the autocomplete and autofill features to speed up the process of entering text. You also learned several methods for copying, moving, and clearing data.